Everything that could happen happened. The most unpleasant thing is electrophoresis until you lose consciousness. Then they gave a little rest and then again electrophoresis. They just tied you to a chair with plastic tape and asked the questions they wanted and got the answers they wanted.
According to the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Ukraine, law enforcement officers registered more than 430 war crimes in the Kherson region. Russian invaders tortured civilians, including children.
On the territory of the Kherson region, for the first time, facts were established from the testimonies of people who were in these prisons, that men and women were kept together for weeks at a time in the cells of the prisons around the clock, and they were not allowed out for weeks. Even the women had to go to the toilet in front of the men and the men in front of the women. There was a separate cell where teenagers were kept. We are establishing their ages now. People tell us that some of the guys looked about 14 years old. Dmytro Lubinets, Commissioner of the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine for Human Rights, on Facebook.
In the liberated part of the Kherson region, law enforcement officers have already discovered 11 places of illegal detention of civilians. People slept on the cold floor, which at best was covered with cardboard or an old carpet. According to the police, the detainees were beaten with bats and metal pipes, tortured with electricity, tied up and imitated execution. The prisoners were also forced to memorize the Russian anthem.
There was a lot of violence. There were many people who were brought in handcuffs with bags over their eyes, over their heads. They were held, tortured, used various forms of violence, physical, moral, intellectual.
Any local resident loyal to Ukraine could be captured by the Russian invaders. First of all, the Russians were hunting for activists, police and military personnel. They also searched for their relatives.
I got here at night. At first there was another room, some kind of basement. I guess it was either the former court of appeal or the basement of the regional administration. You're in some kind of chair, your hands are tied, a hat on your head. And when they don't like something, I understand it was a stun gun which was used to hit you in the neck and ears.
During the occupation in the Kherson region, hundreds of people were detained or went missing. Yale University experts documented the detention and disappearance of 226 people in the city of Kherson and the region between March and October.
Until now, a number of heads of cities, territorial communities and villages have not been released or located. Activists and people who simply took a pro-Ukrainian position and did not submit to the occupation authorities.
In places of mass graves in the deoccupied areas of the Kherson region, experts exhume the bodies, identify the dead, and establish the exact causes of their death. According to the Prosecutor General of Ukraine, specialists from the Netherlands, as well as mobile groups from Poland, Slovakia and Spain, are going to be involved in the investigation of war crimes. Reported by Roman Smoler, Vlada Tsurkan, UATV News.